Hi guys, welcome back. This is issue 59 of Build the Back to the Future DeLorean. This is the last issue for this month, as you may be aware. This one is going to be an average length, I think. There is quite a little bit of detail to do, and there's a lot of wiring to do and stuff, so this could be a fairly long video, but I shall try and make it as short as possible. But there's 1, 2, 3, 5 pages of instructions, and they're pretty full on. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on. So here we go. With this issue, we've got a pipe with some connectors on each end, 2 cables. We've got a long one and a shorter one. We've got the fan. We've got a cable tab. 2 of these purple brackets, and they're difficult to see. Hang on. They're like round. There you go, with a hole in the middle with a pin on it. So we've got 2 of those. We've got this part, which is a bracket, which I believe is for, well, it's for the steering column. We've got this LED, twin LED cable. With green LEDs on the end there. We've got some AP screws here. We've got FP screws. We've got BM screws and DM screws. So I'm just going to pop those away for the moment. And the first thing we're going to be needing is this pipe, the grey pipe. And we're also going to need the centre console that we've been working on. No, sorry, we're not. We're going to need the upper bulkhead we were working on in the previous issue. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is this part here. The part with the bend on is going to be going into, just pushing into this hole here, and then the cable will run down underneath that gold part there, and that will get pushed in to the upper bulkhead like so. And then, yeah, there we go. That's that part done. The next part we're going to be doing is we need cable 59D, which is the long one. So we're going to need the long cable now. Okay, and then it wants us to push these purple rings on the cable. So let me try and attempt to do this. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's not too bad. I thought I might have needed a pair of tweezers, but that's one on. And put the second one in. So it's saying to put one on the very end of the cable, and then one further down just there, and then they're going to be pushed in underneath here, these 2 holes at the bottom, and let me just twist them round. It's going to go in, and they're just going to pop in. Just in there, like so. Alright, and then the long piece is going to, let me just have a look, push the cable. Okay, we're just going to leave that dangling for the moment, this cable, and it wants us to move on now to the fan. And it doesn't, let me just see. Okay, the magazine doesn't make it clear which end to plug the pipe on. Now, they do look like they go both ways, because you could have it that way and you could also have it that way. But the problem is there's a locating pin. So what I'm going to do first is just marry it up, because the fan will be going on here. So if I marry that up so I know how that's going to sit on there, then we know which side to plug the pipe into. So it's going to be the top pipe. Okie doke. So it wants us to plug the small end of the cable. I keep calling it a pipe. Well, it is a pipe, but they're calling it a cable. And I may secure this with glue. I'll see how it goes. So we're going to plug that pipe onto there like so. And then we're going to attach it to the upper bulkhead. With the cable curling round like so, and then we're going to attach that behind with 2 AP screws. So let me just grab my screws, which are up here. And they're going to go in those 2 holes there. See, one there, and then there's one there. One. And 2. And that will attach the fan on there like so. Okie doke. The next thing we need to do is this cable coming off the fan. There's 2, if you can see there, there's 2 like pins there. But the short cable from the fan is going to go into the first of those pins, that one there. So I'm just going to pop that in now. Okay, and that's going to sit in there like that. And I'm not going to do it now, but I am going to be applying some glue, or not even some glue, it just needs cutting, because they've cut the cable at an angle. So I will cut that cable very slightly just so it's got a flat edge, but I'll do that off camera. But that's what we're aiming for anyway. And then the next part we need to be doing is pushing this long cable. We're going to be bringing along the bottom and plugging it into the fan on this side. Like so. There we go. And then the next part we're going to be doing now is we're going to install the LEDs into this area here. So 1 and 2. And then it wants us to flatten the wires against the bulkhead there. So I'm just going to bend them back, and then we're going to be putting the cables down through those 2 lugs there, and then we're going to be attaching this cable grip and attach it with an AP screw. So I'm just going to get that ready now, and the screw will go in the hole furthest to the bottom, the smaller hole, and the locating pin will go in the larger hole on the top. And then we're just going to put an AP screw in to secure that, like so. And I'm just trying to see, it doesn't show anything. I was just trying to see if this cable here had to go underneath that one, but it doesn't. I mean, it is showing a slight bend here, so I'm just going to bend that. It's sort of, no, I'm not sure, to be honest. It doesn't really make that bit clear in the mag. It just seems to just dangle. So okay, and then that's what we have so far. Hiya. Okay, sorry about that. I had a call from Apple. I'm having an issue with my iPhone at the moment. So anyway, where were we? So yeah, we've done that part. We put the LEDs in, and then we put the tab in, as I say there. The next thing we're going to be doing is we need to get the center console, and what it wants us to do is, let me move that. On here we've got that pipe that we had in an earlier issue. It wants us to attach that into that other pin just there. So I'll attempt to do that. So it may be difficult for you to see. Okay, and then once that's in place, he wants us to line up the holes and what it actually doesn't say in the magazine yet, which I'm going to do, is this grey pipe, I assume, will go into this hole just here, but the manual doesn't actually say to do that, but I'm going to, because I think it'll be easier to put this in now while I've got movement. And I'm going to have to reach for some tweezers to get that in. There we go. And let me just see if that's behind or in front before I secure that into place. Okay, that's fine. it's showing that this black cable at the back that comes, sorry, this cable we've installed here that runs along the bottom, it's showing that that's behind this part when you plug that in. So I'm happy with that. And then the next step it wants us to do is screw that into place underneath with FP screws. So this may be really hard for you to see, but I'm going to try and get them in into place, and then I may be able to show you a bit better. But it is pretty self-explanatory, really, this part. Okay, so underneath we've got the 4 screws. We've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the bottom there. And that will put all that into place like so. It's looking good, it's looking good. Okay, the next step it wants us to do after that is push the pipe into the bulkhead and then fix that with another FP. So this pipe here, and let me just adjust the focus a bit for you. Yeah, this pipe here, we're just going to be plugging it into the hole, as you can see in there. And then once that's in, we're going to attach it with an FP screw just in this hole here. So I shall do that now. And then we should have something that looks like that. And then the screw, as I say, goes in, in there. Okay, then when that part's complete, we need to connect the cables. So 16 first, and then we're going to plug that into the socket that says 16. Again, it's showing that the number 16 is facing outwards. So that's 16. It wants us also to put in 15, which I assume is the green LEDs, which they are. So pop them in. Like so. So they are connected now. And then it wants us to plug in the large socket, which is the where all the buttons on the center console, and it's got it marked on there. It's got R and F, so that corresponds. And then we're going to pop that in. One sec, we'll just get that. It feels like it should click in, but it doesn't. It just literally sits in there, but that's not going anywhere. So yeah, we're going to plug that in. Again, that wire's fairly tight, but it is doable. Okay. Okay. My error. It is now saying to connect this pipe into place, but we did it earlier. I think it was easier to do it beforehand, to be honest. Okay. Next thing it wants us to do is to connect some pipes, some sockets even. And there should be 4 here, yeah. So I'll turn this around so you can see. So the larger, so you can see that it's difficult. The larger black wire with the larger plug is going to be going into the bottom of this black socket here. Like so. And then the 2 smaller plugs will obviously go in the 2 holes. You just see the holes there. So these 2 thinner black cables, which I've got here, will go in those 2 holes. And I'm going to use my tweezers here because it's quite fiddly. So there's one in, and then the second one. I don't think there's going to be any need for glue on these because they are nice and tight. So they're in nicely, and then last of all we're going to be plugging in the multicoloured cable at the top, like so. Okay. And then we are going to be doing the similar thing over on the left hand side down here. We've got another socket here. In fact, let me see if I can my camera quality is not the greatest, so I do apologise for that. I will upgrade at some point. So any of you subscribers that are watching me, if you've got any recommendations, please let me know, because I'm not sure what the best option is in regards to a camera. Nothing too expensive at the moment though. At the moment I'm using a Logitech HD one, but it's not very HD. Okay, so here we go. First thing we're going to be doing is taking again the large black cable, and that's going to go in the bottom of the socket. And then Next we're going to have the multicoloured going into the socket. And then finally the two smaller plugs will go in the top two holes. Sorry, let me just get this in. It is quite difficult to, there we go, and push that in, and then we have something that looks like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to be doing is plugging some more connectors in the back. Now at this point I will say I was absolutely pulling my hair out, because, let me just bring you back out. If you remember in issue 38 and 39 there was a whole thing about the cables on the chassis, and I'll bring it over. 1 second, because we will be needing this now. Oh, here we go. Let me come back out. There we go. So yeah, as I said, in issue 38 we had a whole rigmarole with these cables, and the magazine said to go by the colours, which is what I did, but I also renumbered them according to the original magazine. Now I realise now I didn't need to do that, so I'm going to rip these off. Literally I was pulling my hair out because I couldn't get my head around it, but I have found out some information, and even though we went by the colours, the actual numbers in the book were incorrect as well. So in this stage, let me just pull them off, don't need those numbers anymore. Yeah, at this stage 59 the manual is correct in regards to the cable numbers, and that is good. So we don't need to be swapping any wires or doing anything different. The magazine is corrected, so I've been informed. So plug 19 will be going into plug, the socket 19 on the board. So all we're going to be doing now is asking us to connect 19 first, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see that actually, 19 is a blue and red cable, and if you look on the plug, 19 is in fact a blue and red cable. So at this point just follow the magazine, don't worry about any the colours. But if you haven't already swapped the wires, I'll just quickly briefly go over it again. The original magazine 38 said to put wires 8 and 12 on this side of the car and vice versa, and then 19 and 9 on that side of the car, but that is wrong. It needs to be the other way around, only because there's more length to these cables to come over the centre here and to get to the circuit board, which is going to be, well, here. Okay, well, I'm sure you're already okay with that, because I think I said it in, well, I told you in my issue 38 anyway. So okay, so the next job is to start connecting some more cables. So first it wants 19, so as I say, just plug 19 into socket 19. Like so. This is a little bit fiddly. I'm just going to put it up right like that. Next wire it wants is 22. So it's just a case of hunt the wire at the moment. 22 is another blue and red, which comes to the back corner. Okay, then the next cable it wants us to connect is, I don't think there's any, you know, it doesn't really matter what order as such, as long as everything's plugged in now, I think. And let me just move them. Obviously the wires with the plugs on the ends that come out, we need them all together because they will be coming out the side of the car. So make sure they're not tied up too much. Sorry, where were we at? So we were at 23, which is one of these, I believe. Yeah. See, this is where it gets tricky, especially while I'm trying to film. But if you do miss any of this or my hands are in the way, all I'm doing, as I say, is connecting the corresponding cables with the corresponding plugs on the back. So that's 23. Okay, and then it wants us to connect 8, 9, 6, sorry, 6 next. Once I've located it, which I think is this one over here, that's 9, 8, 11, 10. Once I've found cable 6, is this it? Yeah. This is getting very tricky. So 6. And then 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So basically whatever's left. Okay, so once they're all firmly in place, we are going to last of all plug the power in from the battery, and it is directional. So let me just turn this round so I can see. So minus is facing the top. I'll just show you if so yeah, minus is at the top, plus is at the bottom, and that goes on the side there. Okay, the next part is to make sure let me move this in, if I can see all these cables here, make sure these are all coming out. Let me just I don't think it matters too much. It's showing this plus this power cable behind these cables. So I'm just going to do that now. And I've got one stray which is here. Okay, so once that's all these cables here are out the side, including the long one, which is showing coming out here. We're going to line that up. Like so. And then it wants us to use DM screws. Underneath. Hang on one sec. Minor detail. Make sure the steering system here is located in where it needs to be going. And then we're going to use the DM screws to secure it into place. And it's, let me just have a little look. There's a hole in each corner, and I can't really show you on camera, but actually I can. Excuse me. Let me just move you. Look. You can see, possibly, if I put some light on, there's a hole down there, which you can just about see. So one there's a hole. I'll try my best to show you the holes. Let me move that out of the way. You can just about see a hole there. And then there's a hole at the back down there, just where that black cable tie is. And then there's another hole, if you can see, just there, next to that silver pipe. Okay, so that is where I'm going to be screwing DM screws. So I'm just going to quickly do that now. And now we have that inserted in the chassis. There we go. Okay, so then the next job it wants us to do is using BM screws. We need to attach the bracket here over this the steering column there. So make sure that is in the hole, and then pop that. Let me just see how this fits. Like so. It sort of goes that way with this flat piece towards this long piece needs to be towards the dashboard, and that goes in just in there like so, and it clips in under these cables, so you'll have to move these cables out of the way. Hold that in place, and then we're going to secure that in with BM screws. So I'm just going to grab those out. And attach that to my screwdriver and try and get that in so I can show you a little bit better what's going on. one. And then, as I say, the other one goes under those cables. So be careful not to get the wires trapped when you're screwing this in. Oh, let me just make sure that steering pin doesn't come out, and then tighten that down like so, and then we should have something that looks along those lines. Okay, so that was it for issue 59 and the last one for this month. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, it all helps. And yeah, I'll see you for the next issues next month. If you are following me already, you'll know I'm doing the R2D2 build also, and my next delivery for that will be very shortly. So for now, take care, and I'm going to leave you with a couple of pictures of where we are at so far with the build. Just there's only about 3 or 4, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Take care.